Steven Crowder. If you don't know who Steven Crowder is such a big name when it comes to conservative movement. He used to be part of, I believe, I don't know if he's been part of the Turning Point, but he's a big conservative value. He's the guy who goes to campuses and says, change my mind, meaning his premises will be like 2A is an essential part of the United States of America. Change my mind. And there's people around that area that sees this desk and the sign on the desk will come in and try to change his mind. It's pretty much a debate, right? So he became, and then he also owns this podcast network thing on YouTube, and he's been going through it with his guys at the company that he was with. But it's a big thing going on. But today we're going to discuss, because it's a big wave going on about Steven Crowder, of how technically is he really abusing his wife, right? A video came out, it leaked, his wife leaked it. People believe that his wife leaked it. This happened in 2021, but she leaked it according to other sources. And you see how they engage with each other. And I wanted to assess this. Now, I don't attack people, but I will attack ideas and behavior. All right. And I want us to learn something from this. I'm not here to bash anybody, but I'm here to instruct, and I'm here to shed light of how we as men should treat our wives, even if they may not be in the right place. All right. And you're like, what? Yeah, I know. But let's go ahead and get into it real quick, y'all. All right, so this is the video that was leaked, right? It's a Ring cam. It's a cam setup in the corner, right? So, but here it goes, all right? Let's rock.
You've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
It didn't work either. It didn't work either. Like, bruh, first of all, just how that sounds is very, bruh, you a man, bruh. I'm not saying that we can't have emotions, not saying that we can't have our way of frustrations, but he sounds like I'm gonna be honest with you, he sounds like a whiny little boy. I don't either. But let's get back to it. I'm sorry, y'all. Yo, that joint is annoying.
Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you're going to be back when I'm back?
Student.
I'll be back when I'm back. So that's his wife, right? So his wife was about to leave. He's frustrated because I guess they only have one car. First of all, this dude turning down $50 million and they only have one car.
How dare you?
That's the thing I don't understand. But hey, let's keep it moving. She says, I will be back. He's frustrated with the fact that she's not doing what he wants her to do. All right, let's keep it going.
The only way out of this is discipline and respect.
The only way out of this is discipline and respect. Now, understand, and you see her body movements. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I understand. I'm going to put this as a disclaimer. There are some women, some, not all. There are some women who use pregnancy as an excuse to be lazy and to be what? Bad, to elude bad behavior. I get that, right? So yes, I don't know if there's more context to this, but based off of what we see, look, bruh. But the thing is this though, and you will see it here later. She looks very flustered. She looks very not at peace with the whole situation, obviously, because there's a disagreement here. And it's like, cool. Maybe you just got back from a long trip. Maybe you just got done with a whole bunch of business and you're tired, you're frustrated. You may be coming in from work and you're just super tired and you expected certain things to be done and it's not done. Cool, I get that, right? But before I mention this, I want to finish this.
The only way out of it is we're at an impasse.
It's the only way out of it when we're at an impasse, meaning discipline and respect.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline and respect.
Yeah.
Because you can't have any discipline and respect. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. You throw your hand. You give up so easily.
I don't give up, Stephen.
You give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Stephen, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Stephen, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it. Fucking watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. We need to just talk and baby for a little bit, okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem.
Sheesh. He says, I don't love you. That is the big problem. Right. And this is the thing. Now, I'm going to be straight up again. I'm going to be very fair in this whole situation. If you watch it closely, there was a hard cut. Right. And it was a hard cut. And that hard cut maybe like 30 seconds out of this video, because I was looking around social media and Fresh and Fit looked at this video and I saw it and they pointed out that there was a hard cut, and that is true. But it's only a 30-second gap. Right. Now, I wonder what that was there. I don't know what was said, but hey, I don't know. But this is the thing. She goes and says, hey, look, I'm very committed to you. I love you very much. I get what you need, etc. He's just upset that he doesn't want her to go. He wants her to do what he wants her to do. Right. And some guys are looking at me. What's the problem? He's the one bringing the bread. I'm going to explain that. Right. But he goes and says, but the problem is I don't love you. We should not speak to our wives like this. We should not. And the problem is this. I wouldn't even be touching on this like this. But this dude calls himself a believer in Christ. He's open about, yes, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus and all this. But he does some very problematic stuff. Like dudes like this, I was done. I was done with his content once he started making fun of special needs people. I was done with that. I was done with his content. But this is a problem, man. And me and some other creators are holding him accountable. If you call yourself a believer, we're holding you accountable, even though he may not even see me in his life. But if there are others who listen to me and watch my content, I'm telling you, this is not how we behave as men of God. This is far from how we act. And I'm not saying I'm higher than me. And I'm going to share my story. And I'm going to share my story in my marriage for transparency, because over here, I am very transparent. I'm not going to act like I had it right 24/7. But because I got it wrong, sometimes I can speak on why I got it wrong, how I got it wrong, and how I fixed it. All right, let's keep it going.
I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look,
I never received love from you. And again, like I said, there's two sides to the story, right? All right, so I'll be fair on that. There's two sides to the story, but still, this is not how we communicate to our wives. Let's keep it going. She seems the very level-headed one. She's not taking jabs. She's, for whatever we've seen, she has not been taking jabs, but he's been doing. And guys, this is not how you get your wives to submit. This is not how you get your wives to submit.
Bing bong.
All right, let's keep it moving. And the fact that I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, D. This is what he says. I need you to do A, B, C, D.
I need you to do A, B, C, and D. Just be disciplined about it. You know.
And you just need to be disciplined about it. You go, no.
No. But I love you more than life itself. Okay.
But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves, right? He's pretty much referring to, he will give her tasks to do. He's like, I need you to do A, B, C, D. Okay, whatever reason he needs her to do A, B, C, D, but he's complaining and he's saying, hey, but when I come home, nothing's done. I'm assuming this is what he's saying, right? But instead of saying, hey, I'll get it done, he is saying, you just spit off at the mouth and say, but I love you more than life itself. And he's like, you say that, but you're not doing what I asked you to do. So this is his side of the story based off of what we're seeing here. All right.
Put on some gloves. No.
And it sounds like his thing is, look, act of service. I need you to do acts of service. Put on some gloves. And she's saying, no, I'm not doing it.
But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair.
And he says, but I love you more than life. And he says, that's not fair. That's not fair. That is very disingenuous. And if this is true, okay, cool. She is in the wrong for that. She is in the wrong for that. If she's not doing some of the things that he's asking her to do when it comes to the household things, when he's out, okay, cool. I get it. But bro, this is not how we get our wives to submit. This is not how we get our wives to submit. Especially, and then on top of that, especially a pregnant wife. All right, let's keep it moving.
It's not fair and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right. We're at an impasse. Become someone.
We're at an impasse. This is pretty much saying there is no settling this issue. There's no progress being made with this issue.
Day in and day out, worthy of.
Listen to me. Day in and day out. Listen. All right, listen to these words. Okay, listen to these words. Listen to me. Day in and day out. Worthy, a worthy wife. Be a worthy wife. And how you be a worthy wife? Listen to me. Day in and day out. Do as I say. Day in and day out.
A wife? No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage anymore. I'm going to go. I'll text me what you need. I'll get you what you need. I love you. I'm committed to you.
Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not going to.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to it. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves.
This is my question, y'all. Why can't you do it, dog? I get that you may have asked her to do it, but also in some articles it says that the medicine or whatever she's going to need to touch when it comes to the dog, she cannot touch it because of her pregnancy. She's afraid of it harming her pregnancy, carrying your child, goober. Carrying your child. She's scared to touch it. Why can't you, man? You're sitting down. I get it, bro. I get that you probably just got home. I get it that you've been working all month and traveling here, traveling there, and you want to come home and everything should be intact. I get it. And I'm going to address all that with my story and just transparency. But, bro, this is not how you get your wife to submit to the vision.
Are you committed enough to do those things?
Are you committed to do these things? He's berating her. He's berating her.
Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm going to just
walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs take?
Are you committed enough to get the medication?
No, you take that in.
And look, and it says, as Crowder's head, after Crowder's head and Stephen gets angrier and angrier, and by his own admission, he admitted this, y'all. He screams, I will F you up.
How dare you?
I will F you up. Y'all, now check this, man. This is the issue, right? This is the issue with all this, y'all. We have to understand this. And when it comes to our wives, all right, if you're not married, just take a seat and listen to this. And to give more context to who I am the sole breadwinner of my family. I'm not doing this to flex on anybody. I have 3 children and I have a wife. And I am the sole breadwinner. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. I make more than enough to where I can take care of my family and my wife can stay home and live that soft life. That's nothing but the glory of God. Later, I may share my testimony about how I got there. But thanks be to God. But this is the thing, y'all. Sometimes the house may not be fully intact. If I'm honest with you. Sometimes I come home from work. And yes, I hope that the house is clean. But my wife does her best to handle so much because, mind you, she has 3 little ones she has to take care of. She still has to make sure all my stuff is taken care of. She has so much household things to do. There is so much to do. So much to do. And then some of y'all jokers, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of y'all jokers are not even in the position to keep your wife at home, and you still expect her to do household chores, take care of the kids while you sit there and play Xbox. But I'm the man. That's not what it means to be the man. Jesus says the greatest of these will be the least of these. And then until he says, if you want to be the greatest, I'm paraphrasing, the one has to be the greatest servant. You're here to serve your family, and you're not here to dominate them. We're not here to dominate our wives. We're not here to dominate our children, and they're here for self-serving purposes. You're not supposed to just get a wife so that they can serve you. I want to read this scripture real quick, y'all. Let's read this scripture real quick. I speak very passionately about this, right? I speak very passionately when it comes to the dynamics of family, especially. All right. This is coming from Peter, 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7. I advise you to read the whole chapter. All right. But I'm starting at verse 7. This is after the phrase where they talked about the wives. Mind you, this is a small segment of how the household should run. And majority of it was about women and of how they act with their husbands. But this small segment is about men. All right. And it says here, husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives. In other translations, it says what? It says understanding. It says understanding of your wives. Treat them with what? Respect as the weaker partner and as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers.
Bing bong.
So what is this saying here? It's saying first be understanding, right, of your wives, right? Know what makes them tick. Know what's causing them if they're struggling with the things that the vision requires her to do. When I say the vision, I mean the vision that God has given you for your household. There's some things in this house that, hey, when I come home, yes, I may not feel like doing X, Y, and Z. But because I understand what it takes to run this household when I'm not here, I understand that she cannot touch on everything, even though she is a stay-at-home mom. And then on top of that, my wife deals with, no wrong, she's not sickly, but she has sometimes low iron. Because that makes her weak and tired. But if we take the approach of always, why ain't this done? And I was frustrated at some point, even though I wasn't lashing. Sometimes at first I was frustrated because I wasn't being understanding of my wife. And God had to open my eyes. He convicted me and he said, yo, she's doing her best. She is more than willing to submit herself to the vision that God has given you for this household. But she is struggling sometimes because of many different variables. What if your wife berates you because you're not making enough money? What if your wife berates you because she's not able to do X, Y, and Z because you're not making this amount of figures? Y'all, we as men will have a field day and be like, oh my gosh, you should love me for who I am. You should love me. But we're not given that same grace sometimes, y'all. We're not as men. And I'm not blue pill. I have a very submissive wife. So miss me with all that. Y'all are quick to say, y'all blue pill, you beta. Nah, bruh. My wife will tell you straight up, I am the leader of this household. But I understand what it means to be a leader because of the men that God has placed in my life and the accountability that I have in my life, and because of who God has groomed me to be and grooming me to be. Right. And it says what? Treat them with respect as the weaker partner. Weaker doesn't mean necessarily that the fact that they have less value. It means that in this time, in that context, it was talking about women that didn't have opportunities to do something great, right? Because of the culture at hand, right? But even though, and bring it into proper context of today, right? Women are still in a very submissive role if they are godly women and if they are adhering, or just women in general. You may not be a Christian listening to this, but I tell you this, biblical principles will definitely be great in your life. You can learn a lot from biblical principle. And this is a biblical principle. We have to understand this. When we have a woman that submits themselves to us as men, they are technically in a vulnerable state. So you can technically say they are the weaker partner in this moment because they are having to fully depend on a man for their vision, for their protection, for providership, etc. All right. And to hold that in your hands of an imperfect being is what? Very sketchy sometimes. This is why the left is overcorrecting in such a way to where they want to do away with all men because of the abuse of power and because of the abuse, because even men that call themselves Christians abused their wives and did not adhere to the scriptures of God. All right. This is not how we bring our wives and want them to submit. If you want them to submit, live like this. And you will see the right woman. If you married a godly, true godly woman, God will start changing her heart. Husbands, in the same way, be considerate, also understanding as you live with your wives. Treat them with respect as the weaker partner, but as heirs with you, meaning heirs with you. That means that y'all hold same value. Bing bong. Doesn't mean that she is a subordinate. Meaning in the sense of, now I don't want to say subordinate, but she's not, she holds less value. No, she doesn't. God has created you with equal value. It's this thing called complementarian. That's what I believe. That's what my wife believes. That's what the people around me believe. We are complementary to each other. We need each other. Men, you need your wives. You need to honor them, respect them, treat them as equals because they are your equal. They're not there to just be the extension of your bed. Bing bong. They're not just there for you to just get your Jimmy wet and you move on and treat her like crap. Bing bong. She's not there for you just to slob you down and then you go off and do whatever you want to do. Bing bong. Look, I'm going to keep hitting it. Hey, I'm going to be straight up with you. If your kids are around, this is not the episode for them. All right? I speak very passionately about this because, again, like I said, I used to, and I'm going to share this. I only talked to my wife like this when I was 21 years old. She frustrated me to the point where I literally said, when I do this, I don't want to hear S from you. I don't want to hear S from you. This was a very frustrated, broken young man. That was me. But boy, oh boy, did God get me. Boy, oh boy, did God get me. I was broken. In the scriptures, it also says, hey, love your wives as you love yourself. Because nobody doesn't love their body. Treat them as yourself. Right? Like, these are our wives, man. This is not how we get them to submit. The same way Christ has loved us. It says, love and kindness have I drawn thee. That's what draws us to the cross. It was because of his love, his patience, his sacrifice. And this is the thing, y'all. Your wife is not going to be perfect. I'm not saying don't hold her accountable. I'm not saying keep discipline in your household. I'm not saying don't do that. That is required, right, as we run our households. But to berate our women, to say, I don't love you, to speak venom towards our women, in spite if they're wrong, you could be right. And I'm going to say this, and I could go into depth later if we want to touch on more of this, of how we treat our wives, because I'm coming to an end. Is being right worth the cost of peace in your house? And when I say peace, I'm not saying don't hold her accountable. I'm the person that I can debate for days. And sometimes it's okay to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to just feed the dog. Even though she should have did it. I'm going to just feed the dog. And this may not sound right to some of y'all because some of y'all's heads are already gone. You're like, oh my gosh, like this man is giving her reasons and he's simping. No, I'm not simping. Again, like I said, I gave you context from where I'm at. I'm a man. I'm a sole provider for my household. I lead my family the way that God has called me and instructed me to lead. I'm a man that's about respect, honor, and my wife knows that. She takes that very seriously. I don't simp for any woman. Hence why I got the woman that I got. Right? So let's not do that game. What we don't want is accountability. If we want our wives to get right, we get right. Then as time goes, either they're going to submit to the will of God because what God is doing in you, he will go and it trickles down. It starts with the headship and it goes down. A topic that we may need to discuss is how do we get our wives to submit, right? How do we get a submissive wife? That's very how you say that, how I said that in the first place. But I challenge us, treat our wives with love, respect, understanding. And until next time, grace and peace.